nervous?
No.
Where's your answer?
Dennis Beckham, let the ball on! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Oh!
Oh, no! Oh, yes! He missed it.
Welcome to the Suffering from Joy podcast. My name is Devin. Little two-parter, a little bit of a megapod today. We're going to talk a little bit about the thrilling U.S. Open Cup match where we beat San Jose, and Seth's going to give us a little bit of a travel log about his insane day and why we earned that victory just for him. Another thrilling 0-0 for Austin FC. Lots of chances, not a lot of goals. Some fallout from that Open Cup game maybe we'll talk a little bit about, and some options going forward. But joining us today, Scott, how you feeling?
A little tired. Voice is not all the way there, and I'm kind of looking forward to watching some light rain today.
Yeah, light rain's great. Good napping weather. Brad is shaking his head because he's playing golf today. Brad, how you feeling?
Looking forward for the light rain to get through before my tea time this afternoon. Otherwise, not bad. A little conflicted about how I feel about this team right now, but that's a whole thing that we'll get into over the next 120-ish minutes.
Yeah, and before we get to Seth, I want to go ahead and let everyone know we have little subtitles when we record these, and sometimes they're nonsense, sometimes they're good, sometimes they don't say anything. Today, everyone is on point, so I am currently the Uzuni Exorcist. Scott is Mendoza! For you Simpsons fans. Brad is the CJ Fodry Truther. And Seth, who is about to explain to us his lovely, lovely journey, is U.S. Open Cup only. Seth, how you doing?
You know what? I'm alive here. I'm still out here in California, about to fly back to Chicago later today. But you know what? I'll admit, I did not watch any of last night's match, so I'll just ask some questions about this. Obviously, I know what happened, but did experience one of the craziest 135 minutes of soccer I've ever seen on Tuesday night, which was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's a happier story, so let's start there. And I also want to make sure we get that done because the timbre of your voice is a little bit, let's call it, fraught.
Yeah, no, it's been an interesting journey on this part. I mean, I've been on the road for the last 10 days in Maine and now here in California, and it's been lovely, but it gets exhausting at a point.
Yeah, so you woke up at what, 1 o'clock a.m. Pacific time to get to the U.S. Open Cup match?
Yeah. So what I did was, we were in Maine on vacation over at Acadia last weekend, which was lovely. But we were in Portland, woke up about 4 a.m. Eastern time to catch an Uber to the airport, flew from Portland back to Chicago on American, then connected to a flight to San Francisco on United behind security. We actually had 2.5 hours to do that, but we got in early, so we were able to catch an earlier flight. So it ended up being like a sprint across the airport to go get some standby seats, which worked out. Made it to San Francisco about 8 hours before the match, Ubered down, got a little nap, and was at the pregame spot a couple hours beforehand and went to the match and was up for a grand total of about 23 hours between that. Even though, I was asleep a little bit here and there, but certain points, energy just takes over, and it's funny to see how life works like that.
Yeah, you got a nap, you fucking plastic casual. Yeah, there were some nice shots of you on the broadcast where you and pretty much everybody else in the section was going wild, and our friend David was just sort of clapping along like, this mildly amuses me, as we're winning a cup competition on crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Circumstances.
None of you have been to San Jose away before, right?
No.
So usually where we are for San Jose away is we were in the same section, but we're usually in the very top 2, 3, 4 rows of that section. And it's because San Jose at PayPal Park, it is a single level bowl. So it's about 19,000 seats. It's similar to Kansas City, if you guys have been there, where it's, but they have the field level suites. So you get to a point where there's so even the first row is not immediately the first row because there's 5 rows of the field level suites. But since there were only about 4,500 people there for that match, that we were by the 10th row, we're no one's going to be sitting above us. Can you just let us be in the 10th or 11th row? So that's why when you looked at the cameras, there were still tons of empty seats above us. They at least let us do that, which was pretty nice.
Good.
It's also that the only advantage of going all the way up to the top of PayPal Park is that you have an amazing view of the planes taking off and landing. And let's face it, that was probably more interesting during the first half of that match than what we actually saw on the pitch.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of duck into the match a little bit more, and I'll go ahead and leave it open to everyone else. But I think from the get-go, we got literally everything wrong about this game, which makes it all the more fun that we won it. But Scott, do you want to give us kind of your tactical setup from the off?
Yeah, none of what we were trying to do made sense. If we're even gonna try to act like there was a plan. The biggest problem was that San Jose was able to use speed on the wings to kind of get in behind whenever they wanted to. And I think the overall idea on game chat and those of us who were watching the game was, how the hell are we only down 1-0 at halftime? Because this is a game that easily could have gotten out of hand of 2 or 3 down going into the half. I think, which is also kind of part of like the chaos ball of San Jose, and from reading some of their fan comments of, it's a team that looks strong early but doesn't put teams away, and then they allow teams to come back. Chicho Arago scores pretty quickly on just a like banger of a goal, and as soon as that goes in, you're just kind of like, oh yeah, this is what an actual like DP striker does.
Yeah, we did a lot of not defending down the wings, and then not defending cutbacks, and not defending other crosses, and things like that. And yeah, this is a simple like pull back to Chicho, bangs it into the top corner, nothing Stewart can do, and you look at that and you go, well, this is going to be a long night.
Yeah, I mean, Bureau was so far out of position on that. The second I saw him get beat, I'm like, okay, 1-0.
Okay, so this is on the far side of the front post. Why is Dessler the guy tracking the man? We have 3 fucking midfielders in there.
They were
Where are they?
non-existent.
Yeah. Brad, you look like you have something you want to say. No,
No, I don't, because there's nothing to add. It's just
Yeah.
bad soccer with bad soccer for the first 45 minutes on Tuesday.
Yeah. I'm perfectly fine excoriating Biru here, like the entire midfield. Probably not a center back because they're doing what they can, but
It looked like one person showed up wanting to play Tuesday night, and he was in between the sticks for the first, until they got to the locker room. That's what it looked like on TV, or on TV watching it.
Yep.
No, I mean, I feel like Dessler played a pretty good first half. I mean, we'll get into the second half with everything else that happened, but he was at least trying to cover up for everyone else there.
Yeah. I was struck a little bit by how casual Owen looked, because normally he's very like, even if he's having an off day, you can tell he's putting in a shift, but he looked very like, hey, I'm out the door, guys. I'm going somewhere. Less so last night, but it was not something that inspired any sort of positivity in me that he's going to be around for too much longer.
The other thing that I thought was a big difference at halftime was, once the subs came on, you could see that the team actually like kind of played like a team. Like they kind of like formed triangles and like actually looked like they had a formation set up, as opposed to just like 10 guys just kind of like standing around and not like interplaying or doing anything. I mean, I hope Owen's not going for the sake of this year's team, and also that is probably the best choice for him and his career. And so that's kind of always kind of like the back and forth there.
Yeah, but it's also a question of like, I mean, you guys obviously saw a lot more of the game last night. It's a question of, can Diego Rubio actually play that role better than Owen can?
Well, yes, and we'll get into it, but I think the problem with Diego Rubio in that spot is you can't rely on him to play that very well for 90 minutes multiple times a week.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. But also, if we look at what we have left in our schedule, how often are we actually going to require someone to play that a couple times a week?
Yeah, true. Also, it's fucking bullshit that Vancouver is terrible now.
I mean, it's also like that was White and Berhalter's first game back, and it was in Colorado, and weird things happened in Colorado. I wouldn't quite call the Whitecaps dead yet.
Okay, well.
Yeah, we won an MLS road game. Weird things absolutely happen in Colorado.
Yeah.
No, I think Vancouver's in the kind of like hangover from playing in the Cup final still, and I think they'll be fine in like a month. I
don't know if that makes me feel better or worse, but anyway, so we we go in down 1-0. This is, to me, probably Nico's biggest, literally light shit on fire and throw it into lockers and then walk down the weird ramp again and come back out type of halftime speech that he needed. But I don't know what happened. We looked less incompetent, but not very much like anything was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we got bailed out. Let's be very clear about what happened in this match. I mean, this is a team that has not scored from open play in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's only 3 matches, but still, this is a team that over the last month looks like it is ready to be on the pace to set the MLS record for fewest goals scored.
Well, I mean, we'll go ahead and talk about this a little bit more going forward, but we have a goal threat. He just tore his ACL. He's out for at least the end of this season. Sam Surridge, I believe, still has more goals as an individual than Austin FC does as a team in the league. Non-all-star Sam Surridge. Hopefully soon to be all-star Sam Surridge, but we're more than halfway through the season. How the fuck does that happen? We spent a ton of money on forward players, and we're going to talk about one, especially after last night's game, a lot more, two, I guess. But
so if you look at the stats, the individual, I was looking at this earlier because I wasn't sure how bad it was going to be. But for individuals in MLS of goals scored versus XG in terms of the 2 worst players at converting chances are Vasquez and Azuni. They're the 2 worst in the league. I will get into Nico's comments a little bit too. I do think that some of it is just that the finishing isn't there, and if you're not finishing, then you're not going to win. And at the same time, especially last night, I saw a team that looked like they did under Wolf, of just we rely on Stuver to make the saves and win, and that's just kind of what this team is. And going back to the Open Cup match, especially in the first half, that's exactly what happened. And even then, even in the second half, when the team looked better, it still was reliant on San Jose playing very naive soccer of, sticking legs out in the box when you're up a goal. You don't do that. You don't need to do that. You just need to play for the shot and try to block it, as opposed to try to pick a guy's pocket in the box when the risk is you give up the goals to a team that can't score goals in the run of play. That's just a very basic soccer thing. And yeah, we got bailed out, and those were also clear penalties. Getting bailed out is more a sense of San Jose is a chaos team who isn't very well coached and don't know how to hold a lead, and this is what happens in those games.
Yeah, I think there's a very big difference between, a team's pressing and they're really have the other side penned in for 10 minutes, then somebody sticks out a leg and they trip, and it's okay, well, this goal was coming, now it's just coming via penalty, versus I don't know, we sort of had a shot or two, and then they did something really dumb and whacked Brandon in the shins, and that's a penalty all day long.
I mean, the second one is really the egregious one, because you look at it of
there's no reason to stick your leg out.
There's no reason to do that at any point. You were just begging to get called for a penalty there.
Yeah. I think if you watch that match, people, and don't get me wrong, very excited we won Open Cup. I was screaming in my house at 12:30 in the morning. The better team lost Tuesday night. And just, we need to say that a lot. Yeah.
Cup.
Yeah. I mean, better team lost on Tuesday night. But having a goalie that can make saves, tearing gashes in other guys' legs and then pissing them off is really fun too, I guess. But we didn't play well. There was a stretch in the second half that was okay. The combo play that Biru made on the first PK was actually very nice movement, which I have this weird thought now of, man, should we just move Biru to the midfield? Because he's better progressing than he is going backwards. It's something I would consider and think about, or at least in the offseason, see if he could cross-train there, especially since we're bringing in another left back, apparently. Extremely happy we got out of there with a win, especially because fuck San Jose, and I hate them more than any team in this damn continent. So the one thing I come out of this game with was, hey, not only do we still have a chance to win, yes, to me it's a 2-game season the rest of the year. I said that last night at the tailgate, going to people like, what do you think? I don't care. It's a 2-game season. I started caring about the 50th, 60th minute when I realized something. We'll get into that for my moment of suffering. But Seth, you hit it on the head. We haven't scored from open play in over 300 minutes of total game action. At some point, we have to go back to the 3-4 years of data now, going back to FC Dallas with Nico. This is a systematic problem. And I was going to pose a fun question for y'all. I know we're still talking about the game a little bit. We can talk about this later, or we can talk about it now, but
Fuck it, talk about it now.
Rodolfo Borrell's stated goal every year is to make the playoff. Does he pull a Tottenham if we make the play or miss the playoff but win Open Cup?
First of all, how fucking dare you ever compare this goddamn club, however much I hate them at the moment, to Tottenham Hotspur? And no, if Nico wins a trophy, he keeps his job. I'm not convinced he loses his job even if he misses the playoffs, but if he wins Open Cup and we finish like 10th or lose the play-in game, there's no way he's getting fired.
Yeah, Anthony Precourt is not Daniel Levy, and thank God for many reasons.
Yeah, I was going to say that's both a positive and a negative, but additionally, Anthony Precourt, as the majority owner, is not under indictment for securities fraud. So a couple other things. Our sporting director hasn't been banned from football for a variety of very, very nefarious reasons. A whole lot of things going on here, but I mean, really, to your point, I think this is more than just Nico, because we had Wolf. We hung on to Wolf for at least a season too long. We bring in Nico. He plays similar-ish kind of style. This is what the club wants. This is not a Nico. This is not a Wolf. This is a top level. This is what the club wants to do problem.
Maybe,
but I mean,
like I'm not fully bought into that at this point. Like as we start going through it, it is ultimately the job of the club is to sell tickets and to make as much money as possible. And they thought that they were trusting in Rona. We're bringing in this guy from Man City. He's gonna allow us to play an attractive style of football that's going to allow us to win matches. It is not an intentional plan of Austin FC to be the lowest scoring team in league history. No one signed up for that business plan.
I'll also say this: if that happens, I think Nico gets fired no matter what.
Both of these
Because
guys.
I just don't know how you sell this team next year with Nico back when we scored 20 goals in a season.
Both of these guys trained under Berhalter. Berhalter's assistant is now at Nashville. Top assistant from the U.S. team is now at Nashville. Both of those teams are banging in goals. Chicago and Nashville are putting in goals. So it's hard for me to go, is it something the club wants to do when the club has clearly hired two guys from the Berhalter tree who can't figure out how to put goals in the net? Like,
yeah,
so the question may not be, is it a Nico problem? The question might be, is it a Roto problem? Roto's made some good signings. Svatak's been great. Dessler's been great. He's finding some decent value elsewhere. I thought Vasquez was starting to come into his own. Bucati's been very good. But there's also some questionable shit that he spent money on. And the construction of this team, as we talked about at the beginning of the year, who the hell was going to pass the ball? Who was going to be the creator? We still don't have an answer to that. And we look like we're no closer to having an answer to that.
No, but I do think, and Seth kind of brought this up earlier, having Diego Rubio, who's, not a natural 10, but he's sort of a withdrawn striker, so fuck it, close enough. He looked so much better doing that than, I think Owen's a great player, but he's not a 10. That's not who he is as a player. Even just having Diego Rubio do that, it unlocked so much more last night versus what we've been doing all season.
That's not the first time we've seen Rubio do that this year. Go back to San Diego. He played a very similar role in the San Diego match at home. And he was really damn good. In fact, his pass sprung Vasquez open. I don't know if Vasquez, I think his first goal sprung it, because I'll sit with you, Scott. We've seen this happen with him. And I threw something at y'all last night in the chat, which was, do we need to, and Scott, I think you had mentioned this earlier in the year, but is our best midfield playing Danny back at the 6, Owen at the 8, a little progressively, and then, or double pivot with Danny either way, and then Rubio up as the 10? Is that actually our best midfield to put out there right now? Because as much as we love Salvich at the beginning of the year, he's fallen off a cliff. Not doing a damn thing. So
Yeah,
my argument is his spot should be open. I thought Elie was fine for his 60 minutes last night, but Elie is going to be either a super sub or a midweek 60-minute starter at this point, given performance and age.
So one last thought here before I do think we should talk about the penalty shootout. I think the biggest difference between Rubio and Owen playing that spot is I feel like in Owen's head, there's this idea of like, I need my passing percentage to be 100, and Diego doesn't care about that. And I think that's the biggest difference between the two of them is that Diego is willing to make passes that maybe only have a 50% chance of being completed, but if you complete them, as Brad mentioned of springing Vasquez, or he sprung Bukhari for the first Azuni miss last night, like if you do complete those passes, you get scoring chances out of them, and that's the risk reward of doing it. And I don't think Owen is willing to make those passes yet. And that might just come with experience, or it might just he needs to have coaches that aren't under the Berhalter tree or his dad.
No, I think this is a largely, I'm going to call it American trained player thing. There are multiple times watching this game where you would see somebody like Rubio, like even half trap a ball and just whack it. And, maybe there's space open, maybe there's not. Like you said, it's risk reward. But all of the American trained players are, I'm going to settle the ball, I'm going to take 3 dribbles and then hand it to the next person off. And that kills everything. Any speed, any displacement of the defense, it just fucking stops everything in its tracks. And like, yeah, we kind of rag on MLS and we say, there are a lot of hilarious defensive errors, and there are, but these are still well coached, organized teams. And if you give them time to get back and get settled, they're fine most of the time.
So anyway, about that Azuni miss in the U.S. Open Cup that could have varied the game. And about the
I was going to say we need to talk about that and then extra time before we get to the shootout.
Well, no, I want to talk about one thing before we even get there. Like how we were advancing the ball in this match was absolutely hilarious. I turned to friend of the pod, Tony Carnardi, at one point and was wondering if we were using the effectively, if you're super online, which you guys are, and know this is known as the Jane Costin defensive pass interference offense. Effectively, what we were trying to do to advance the ball, because we could not advance the ball down the wings or down the midfield, is that we were effectively trying to force, get the ball 15 yards down the field, force a throw in, force a free kick. There were 55 fouls called in that match. 55. I know it was a 120-minute match, but 55 fouls called. And then if you add in throw-ins and other, like effectively we were assuming that we were not going to advance the ball from live play. And obviously both of our goals were directly as a result of fouls as well. But it was like, just, hack them. And it was going both ways. I've never seen a match of professional soccer. I mean, I've been to a match where I've seen 17 yellow cards before, but even that wasn't like, that was actually like vicious violence. This wasn't vicious violence. This was just a hackathon both ways. And like, it was just the least fluid soccer that I've ever seen us play. And that's saying something, because I've seen some really, really bad soccer that we've played in 5 years in this club.
It wasn't great. It wasn't a great advertisement for the league or the cup, but you know what? Tournament game, we advanced.
That's all that matters. Well,
all right. Let's stick in on Uzuni. Brad?
Miss number 1 of the week.
Let's call it that.
Yeah. I don't know how to say this in a polite way, but did you forget that you just don't have to kick it right at the keeper? I understand the keeper came out and closed down some space, made it a little tougher on the angle, but man, for the amount of money you're paid, for what you're paid to come over here for your release clause, given your pedigree and your history, you are one-on-one, 6 yards out, 8 yards out, to bury the game in about the 86th, 87th minute. You have to score that. No questions asked.
Period.
Stuber has been standing on his head all night long, keeping this team in the game. That was our one chance to finish it off in 90. And Mirto Ozuni, for at least the 75th time this year, kicked it right to the keeper. Nothing to say there other than what the hell are we doing here, man? Like, I don't know. I've got CJ Fodre Truther up here. Fodre wasn't on the roster Tuesday night. Question that I don't want. I have a bigger issue with it about yesterday's game. But I know he's the highest paid player on the team. I get all this. I know Vasquez is out, and we have to try to find goals somewhere, and Ozuni might be our best shot. But if you're going to sit here earlier in the season and you bench Bucati because he wasn't performing or doing something that you want him to do, Nico, after last night's game, apparently you said that Robert Taylor has to earn starts. Maybe Mirto needs to sit a little bit. And I know he didn't start Open Cup, but I think that was strategic because of the potential 120 minutes of holding back some guys to make sure we could go full 20, which is actually smart. I don't have a problem with that. But in MLS play over the next month or so, in games that kind of matter but not really, test some shit out or light a fire under his ass. One of the two.
Yeah, I mean, he's your record signing. I think you have to play him at least a few games, although I'm less certain about that after last night. But obviously it would be nice, like, Ozuni scores, we advance in the Open Cup, we kind of smash and grab at 90. That'd be great. And I think we'd be talking about this a hell of a lot more, too, if we end up losing that game, especially 2-1. But what really sucks about this and last night is the kind of grand thing of, okay, Ozuni's had a really rough start. This is a great chance. Like Vasquez, you saw the injury. He's clearly going to be out for a while, even if we didn't know it was an ACL tear. This is the chance for Ozuni to go, hey, I'm back. I'm here. This is my team. I'm the goal scorer now. Put this on my back. Let's go. I got you guys. And pretty tepid finish on this one. We'll get into the other ones in a little bit, but this is the story arc you want if you're Mirto Ozuni, and it's right there on a fucking platter for you, and you're not doing anything with it. It's up to you, dude.
I will not hesitate to say when he was the one to take the PK that I was scared shitless.
I think I described it as a war crime, even after he scored.
Well, honestly, on the PK, I thought Ilie was going to take it because Ilie was getting to the point where he was getting in everyone's face. I'm like, okay, he will be the quote-unquote smart choice here. He'd take the PK. And it's like, okay. And then it's like, Ozuni's coming up. Okay.
My heart rate level would have come way down had Ilie been over the ball.
Okay, so remember earlier in the season when there was a penalty miss, and we talked about how if Ilie was on the field to handle the shithousing, then the penalties would be better. And this game was the exact reason why we were right.
Yeah.
Because every time he did that, I was kind of surprised at how much confidence Ozuni still had taking the penalties, especially when we get to the shootout of the comparison between the two teams shooting. And that was really what I thought was going to get him going, because that's also kind of what got Vasquez going. And then you see the misses last night, and you're just kind of like, oh no, it's just he needs the ball stopped and easy PK to be able to do it.
Yeah, we do need to mention the sort of weird disaster that they scored in the in added time too, where essentially like the ball's just pinging around our box and some guy takes a whack, it goes through three bodies, Stewart doesn't see it, it ends up in the net. You see cup games decided on this sort of nonsense all the time. So just my entire heart and body sunk when that went in the net.
Mine did too, but I was also in my head just going, yeah, we deserve that.
Yeah.
For the way the defensively we were playing, because Stewart had made, I think, 2 saves on that sequence before the third one actually went in. So it's like, the guy can't stop everything.
Well, what hurt too is like it was savable if he saw it.
Yeah.
And you could tell he didn't see it, but it's just like, oh, you made a bunch of great saves, and then this one kind of gets by you. It's, twist the knife a little bit. It's not like they just rocked it into the top corner.
But he did have plenty of great saves in the shootout.
He did.
But he also had plenty of great saves. I mean, we'll get to my moment of suffering a little later here, but like he had plenty of great saves throughout that match. And it was just like, I mean, if San Jose had won that in stoppage time in the second half, I would have lost my mind because every goal in that match, including the PK shootout, was scored at the other end of the field from where we were. And if they had scored a stoppage time winner right in front of us, oh my God, that would have been borderline nuclear.
Realistically, looking at the game, and I know we all said earlier, like the better team lost. That game could have easily been 4-1 in regulation,
But
without blinking an eye.
we got to extra time and we got to play one of my favorite MLS games. What in the world is Mark Anthony K doing? So, we get a ball into the box. It kind of gets cycled out. Is this off a corner or a free kick? I think it's a corner.
Yeah.
Corner. Okay.
Yeah.
And, standard, nothing remotely threatening comes from it. Easy header out. Owen picks up the ball. And Owen does exactly what Owen should do, which is drive forward, pull players out. And he just does this Owen Wolf thing that he cuts to the side. And there is no fucking reason to stick a leg out here at all. I don't know what he's thinking. You're in the 113th minute of added time. Let Owen shoot through a fucking wall. If he scores, he scores. I have no idea what he's doing here. Like, I wouldn't have breathed on him, but stick a leg out. Owen gets the contact, goes down. Classic Anthony Gordon penalty. It's a penalty for me. I don't know if you guys, I think San Jose was a little upset about it, but
both penalties were clear as day.
Yeah,
they were both clean fouls. Like, yeah, Vasquez might have gone down a little easy, but when you
kick a guy in the shins full force,
you kicked him on the shin. When you look at the replay, you kicked him on the shin. Like, I'm sorry, that's a foul.
Yeah. So yeah,
they were both obvious penalties, and they were less obvious than one of the ones Mendoza missed last night.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Mendoza. I guess before we get to the shootout, we sort of hinted at it, but they were calling for a Dessler red card at the end of regulation. I would be pissed if this happened to our player, but there is no force from Dessler in the high boot, so I think this is the correct call to not give it a red. And also, you look at the game state, like, this has been a, tormenty, Seth called it, a fucking war of attrition type of shit. That is not a red card you give in this game, to me.
But what was interesting about this match is that it started off, usually a ref loses control of a match by not calling fouls. This ref lost control of a match. And first of all, it was only the 17th match he's ever officiated, and the first ever that involved MLS teams. This ref lost control of the match by calling too many fouls early and couldn't actually establish the cadence of play. So by the second half, when their fans were chanting "Ref USOC," our fans were joining in. Like, the entire stadium thought this ref was terrible. Did more of the bad calls probably go against San Jose by the end of this match? Yeah. But, this ref had no control over the match. Not that Mendoza did last night either.
I was going to say, you could have said that about either match, but any thoughts? To me, this is a clear yellow, and, we move on with our lives. But
it was, pretty gruesome. Yeah. Christian, I'd be pissed if I was Christian Espinosa, too.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not.
Also,
I would have done the same thing as him and fucking scream my head off. But
also, that's what that injury looks like when it doesn't get treated and you don't let the trainer treat you to try to get a red card. That's part of why it looked like that, is because he was being a diva, I'm going to say, about trying to get the red card.
Him having to be subbed off. And then hearing the coach yelling at the physio on TV of, just put a butterfly on it. You could have put a butterfly on it. He could still be out there, just yelling at him because he wasn't. You wouldn't have seen this on in the stadium, Seth, but it was amazing.
High contact.
Bruce Arena is just yelling at the physio as he's being
I saw the clip afterwards, but it's amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So if you diva that much for a red, I think it's fair to not expect VAR to give it to you.
Yeah, and then of course you have to live in the DMs too after the match the next day, which we can get into as well. I don't know if you saw this, Devin.
I didn't actually. You have my. Should we do this before or after the shootout?
Let's do it after the shootout.
Let's do this before. This is amazing. This is a perfect lead into the shootout.
Okay.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
So to talk about the shootout a little bit, I have a pet theory that the first penalty taker sets the tone for the rest of the team taking penalties.
Yep.
And when that person, shows confidence, converts it, it carries to the rest of the penalty takers believing they can do it. And when the first person misses, it also has the negative effect on it. And I thought this was a really great example of how, like, Chicho Arango gets up there, DP striker, MLS, somebody who's scored a lot of goals for a lot of teams and has also had to leave a lot of teams under a lot of acrimony. And instead of just walking up there and just banging it in, he does this stupid stutter step bullshit thing of trying to get Stuver to move forward. And instead of doing, and it gets saved because he broke his own rhythm. It felt like he was trying to get Stuver to come off his line and to get a retake more than he was trying to score it.
Which is a stupid strategy. And, I'm a big fan of if you take dickhead stupid penalties, you deserve to miss.
Yeah, and then he complained about Stuver being off his line, and there's a lot of very poorly angled screenshots by San Jose fans who were mad about it, including Arango, who was posting them in DMs. And the whole thing is that, like, any of your body part can be over the line and count. And if you look at where Stuver's hands are, his hands are over the line. And even if you look at the poorly angled screenshots, if you look at the left, you can see the assistant AR staring down the line, looking at it the entire time. You can't be like, oh, well, they're not calling blah, blah. Like, that's literally that person's only job.
Stuver's heel is above the line.
Yep,
which counts. It's in plane. It doesn't have to be standing on the chalk. It's just got to be in plane with it. Which
make a fucking better penalty. Jesus.
And then to compare that to the Austin penalties, especially the first, really all of them, the first two go up per 90. Robert Taylor does a Panenka, which was frankly disrespectful to their keeper and deserved. And then Owen Wolf bangs the last one in too. And you just kind of see, like, this is what happens when you have confident penalty takers who feel like they can score on the guy versus a team that feels like they can't beat the keeper. And San Jose did not feel like they could beat Stuver. And as soon as Arango missed, the rest of their players were like, oh, we're not going to win this. You could tell immediately. Like, in my preview article, I predicted San Jose to win on penalties. And I realized that I was immediately wrong when I looked at the keepers. Because as soon as you look at those two keepers and those performances, you're like, there's no way Austin's losing this.
I think we do forget how great Stuver is, especially in a shootout situation on penalties. He's a huge, huge advantage.
The entire time that we were in extra time, I said it in game chat and I kept thinking in my head, I'm like, if we can get to a shootout, I feel great. Get me to PKs. I'll take my chances with Stuver every time in this league and against competition in MLS. I mean, we've had two shootouts in our history. There have been, seven PKs taken against him?
7, yeah.
And only 3 have gone in. One, he had 3 saves, 1 complete ball kick to Mars, and then 3 went in. And he's also pretty damn good on regular PKs, too. He's got several PKs during just standard MLS play.
Yeah, I do think that's an important line to draw, and people forget, like, an in-game penalty is way different than a shootout penalty.
Yeah.
But also, as much as we are spending this pod bashing Mircea Zuni very, very fairly, the fact that he hit 2 PKs within the sequence of about 15 minutes against the same keeper and scored both of them, credit's due where credit's due.
And 2 very different penalties, and he took both very well, and it's, people are like, you go up, you whack it in, you do the same thing the next time. Like, scoring 2 penalties on the same keeper is a lot harder than it looks.
Well, and Scott made the point.
Looks like
Scott made the point of setting the tone.
Yeah.
And Rubio came out and was the first one to take for us. But Zuni kept going second. Huh?
I do want to talk about Rubio's.
But Zuni was the one to keep the momentum going second. But yeah, we took really, really smart penalties, I thought, overall. And there was no BS. There was no fooling around. And when Stuver saved that first one, I think it clearly set us up. And then when he got the second save, like 2 shots later, it was over. Honestly, if we could just skip the 120 for the next 2 matches and go straight to penalties, save everybody a bunch of time, that'd make me happy.
Yeah. Sort of like, ancient combat. Instead of everybody dying on each side, you just pick your best fighter and let's do the penalty shootout. We'll be fine. I did mention, 2 minutes ago, if you take penalties like a dickhead, I don't care if you miss. I don't know what Rubio's style is, but he looked like Fred Flintstone about to bowl, running up there with his like twinkle toes shit. And the like weird angle on the broadcast looked like he shot it about 30 fucking feet over the net, but it hit like the underside of the actual like roof of the net. And I went from like, how did you miss by like, sent it to fucking Mars? But, then you realize it went in and you're like, oh, that was actually like a perfect penalty. And I want to kind of go back when you guys were talking about Ilie or Izuni. I remember Rubio's pretty good penalty taker, so I thought he's who was going to take the one in extra time, but it all worked out. And yeah, I mean, we were cool and confident on the other ones. Robert Taylor with a, as Scott called it, a disrespectful Panenka, and it was, and it should have been, and it went in, and that's the game. So, we got 3 points. We get out of there 2 more games, and we're lifting a trophy. It's a nice place to be, but we do kind of have to talk about Brandon Vasquez. And I think everybody watching that game knew that was a bad injury when it came out. I don't know if we were positive it was an ACL, but they confirmed that on Thursday. So, yeah, I think everybody going into Saturday was thinking this has got to be Izuni's time to shine.
Yeah.
Still a little surprised that Gallagher was starting, but, this is kind of the lineup I expected, especially after some rotation on 120.
Yeah, the lineup didn't really bother me outside of Taylor not starting. Like, that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Otherwise, I thought lineup was fine Saturday or last night. The rotation made sense. I figured Cascante would play a full 90. I was a little surprised they pulled him after 60. I thought that was a little bit of a wasted sub last night.
Yeah, that was weird.
Because Cascante was doing fine. Like, my buddy Jay went to the game with me, and twice in the first half I went, "Nice job, Cascante," and then I caught myself like, "Holy shit, I haven't said that in forever." On a couple of plays that he made. So
he was at fault at kind of their like one good chance in the first half.
Sure.
But it's also one of those things of like, if that just happens once a half, like that's not the worst from your third center back.
Yeah.
At this point,
he played okay. Like, he was fine. And in a 0-0 game, I don't know that I would waste a sub on a center back at home. And I think that's the biggest frustration I had, and we'll get to later in the match, was towards the end, and Scott, I don't know if you felt this way, it felt like we weren't trying to play to win in the last 10 to 15 minutes of the game.
Oh, 100%. Like, I think I even posted it in Game Chat or our chat, I forget which one it was, but when we brought Biru on at the end at a 0-0 game to Verzer a draw, that was the most infuriating sub I've witnessed in a while. And I didn't think that Nico's sub pattern made a lot of sense anyway. But at that point, it's like, we've talked about it before of like, if you're trying to get a goal, like, you just kind of have to do the Arsene Wenger thing of like just throwing on more attackers. And if you don't have any faith in CJ Fodry, then don't put him in the lineup, or don't even put him on the bench then. Because if you're not going to throw out another attacker in that situation when you're playing well and, trying to beat a non-playoff team, a New England team that is bad. And if you're going to make the playoffs, you need to get points from these. And I think that, like, going along with the 1-1 draw against Atlanta, like, this is when we look back at the season and Austin doesn't make the playoffs, we're going to be like, oh, these are points dropped that Nico didn't go for. And if you're not going to throw on attackers to try to win a 0-0 game at home when you're playing well, I don't know what you're doing. Like, I legitimately don't know what you think the goal of this sport is.
XG.
Oh, he did the whole defending XG thing last night after the match too in the press conference, because of course
I think that's his way of trying to blame Izuni without calling it as a player, because all of us can kind of like link that together, but you should just do it. You should just be like, the striker got good chances and couldn't convert them. Like, you can just say that. Like, that's fine. You don't have to hide behind XG. We all watch the games and we can see Izuni can't score.
I mean, have we now officially hit peak reverse 2022, where we might have as much XG as we did in 2022? It's just we were at one end of the curve in that season, especially at this point, and then we're at the other end of the curve right now.
I don't think we have nearly that much XG.
Well,
but I don't think we do.
But we also got knocked out in the first round of Open Cup to USL team, and now we're making a deep run. Like, it's Bizarro 22.
Let's stick with that. That feels better.
I mean, then again, if it's Bizarro 22, we're likely getting crushed in the semifinals of Open Cup, which may very well happen.
Yeah. That's the one solace for Open Cup is I actually feel like we typically play decent up in Minnesota. So I'm not terrified of that match for some reason.
But since we typically play decent, are we now going to play terribly?
Well, we're probably going to play terribly because I've decided to book a plane ticket and go, and I haven't seen us win an away match in like 3 years. So yeah, that's probably the reason now.
Was it Atlanta? Do we need to get somebody kicked out?
I think Atlanta in 22 was the last time I saw us win on the road.
Okay, we need to have an avocado get a stadium ban, and that's the secret to Brad watching an away win.
Sure. This is something we can definitely make happen immediately. He owes me a favor. Not really, but I can pretend he does.
I think he's going to be there, so yes, I think we can make these things happen.
All right, if you guys need to, I can pull out the Suffering from Joy company credit card to grease the wheels a little bit if we need some pregame drinks to make this happen. All right.
Yeah, so we started lineup. Lineup was fine last night, though, overall, for the most part.
Yeah, like maybe one or two things I would have changed, but no complaints.
Yeah.
Is this Uzuni's worst miss of the season? The first one. Sorry, I have to specify. The first one.
Yeah, we got the Galley miss before that, too. Oh, I thought was a good defensive play. Galley hit it first time. That was when a defender came in making a sliding play. But on the Uzuni one, yeah. Especially considering you had two fantastic passes in the build-up to spring that play. You got to put that one away, man.
I think, you mentioned the Galley one's a good defensive play, and it takes us just a little too long to develop it. Let's get back. But yeah, I mean, this is like a great spring pass. Bukari, he had those guys on toast and was taking souls all evening, but breaking ankles, like any fucking analogy you want to do, he did it last night. And this pass is so simple, and Uzuni basically has two choices here. He can do the I'm a confident striker, I run up and whack it as hard as I can, that goes in first time, or you can kind of settle it and then shimmy and dink it around in the keeper. And he did neither. He just stopped it and made sure his shot had no power and hit it straight to the keeper. So you had two choices to put this in and you took neither. I don't get it. For a guy who's, this isn't a guy who's 21 and up and coming and, kind of feeling himself in the league. We bought Uzuni to finish this fucking chance.
He looked like he was trying to go back. I think he was trying to be cheeky and go back the direction that Peeper was coming from, instead of just kind of pulling it across his body to the other, 18 wide ass open feet of net that you had.
You can
maybe would have made a little more sense to me.
You can do that, but you got to score. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know that there's a guy on this team that I give a pass for missing that. Maybe he's Fatak because he's not. He's a true center back. That might be the only guy.
I'm not joking. I could have scored that goal. Assuming I could run there and get to the spot he was in. The hard part. That part I couldn't do. But once I was
never mind that my physical body would be actually outside the 18 at this point because there's no way I'm running that fast. But
yeah. Get the fucking oxygen tank afterwards from sprinting 20 yards.
Hey, you know what? It must have been so nice for them to play on real grass after Tuesday night of whatever that was in San Jose. That was wait a minute, did they forget how to play soccer as a result of this?
I guess. I thought we looked mostly good for most of the game, because I mentioned I thought we looked completely fucking clueless against San Jose. I thought most of this game we were the better team.
First 45 minutes, there was folks saying, "My God, we're getting killed in possession." And I'm like, "Oh, we're playing counterattack here early. That's fine." And then it seemed like New England settled in and just ceded possession our way, but we didn't just do nothing with it. We were actually progressing the ball. We were creating chances in the first half. I thought we played well, and we deserved to be up 1-0 at least going into halftime.
I actually thought the interesting thing about the match was both teams kind of wanted to counterattack, and they were both trying to kind of play through their nominal 10. It's just that New England couldn't get Gil on the ball enough, and the one time they did, they got a really good scoring chance. And I always find it interesting when like MLS teams are like, oh, we should sit back in the bunker and try to counter because the other teams aren't really good at possession. And then everybody just does that. And it's a weird game of like not wanting to have the ball.
There was a sequence in the first half where we moved the ball down the right side. And it was about a 25 or a 30 pass sequence. And we get the ball into the box before I think we finally turned it over in the box, if I'm not mistaken, late. But yeah, I thought from a passing perspective and progressing slowly, but just making sure we're methodically moving the ball down the field and keeping possession, moving defenders around, it was our best passing sequence of the year.
Yeah, I mean, Scott kind of talked about this in the Open Cup game. Like, I have no idea what the fuck we were doing. Like, this game, there were beautiful, like, triangles and patterns of play. And, hey, we'll suck the defense in, then we'll hit a release ball. Or, we'll have them suck 3 guys onto Rubio. He'll turn, take 1 hit, and whack it down to Bucari. Or, we'll make a run just enough so that we can give it to Bucari face up instead of him having to come back to the ball. Like, everything we were doing, not every single time, but, theoretically at least should have worked. And a lot of the time it did. And that's a way, way different thing than US Open Cup. So it's really frustrating. We played that well and didn't score a fucking goal.
I mean, that's kind of, I think this is the argument that Nico's trying to make at the press conferences is, hey, we controlled the game. We didn't really give up that many good chances. We created a couple chances to the striker we spent 12 million on, and he's not finishing, and that's not my fault. I think that's ultimately like the argument he's making. And that is, if you watch the game, like you see that, but you also have to keep in mind that like New England are bad. Like this is a bad result to not get a goal.
Well, New England are bad, and like this is not the first time this has happened. Like this is a theme. This is not like, wow, we had one bad game. How did we drop those points? It was, well, whatever you're doing to man manage Uzuni or fix his fucking strikering problem ain't fucking working. So, him not being able to kick the ball in net at this point is kind of your fault too.
Yeah, I mean, again, a single player has outscored Austin FC as a team.
What was that, Scott? I want to say this like 5 times on this show.
And here's the thing. We're not that far away from having multiple players do that because Messi's at 14. And I think Ty Baribeau from Philly's at 13, and he only has like 1,000 minutes played.
Yeah, as I say, Baribeau is hurt right now, so like it's awesome.
Yeah, Austin has 15 goals in 21 games, which I think might put us below the. If I can math really quick, it is just above the record for fewest goals per game in MLS, which is 0.7. We're at 0.71.
What did that team do that had the 0.71 goals?
Won the US Open Cup.
Correct.
In a spoon?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's written in the star. We're not going to win the spoon, but it's written in the stars.
Listen, if we don't score the rest of the season MLS play, but we win Open Cup, it's fine. It's worth it.
Team of Destiny.
It's worth it. I might not buy another ticket this year to an MLS match. But
should Ben Olsen come in for a trophy presentation if we win the Open Cup?
Yes.
He's only a 2.5 hour drive away.
Yeah.
For now, Nickelodeon slime him. I don't know. I'm trying to make it fun. And VERDE. There's VERDE tie in there. We had a bunch of chances. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I do, like, I know we beat up on Nico for this. Like, oh, you play the game 10 times, you win 9. And I kind of agree with him. They had a lot of really good chances, too, though.
Stewart had to make 8 saves last night. It's not like they didn't have chances to score. And one of theirs in the first half went off the post.
Yeah, they had one go off the post. They had a guy who, I don't know if this counted as a shot. He had like a tap in, missed it wide, but I'm pretty sure he was offside. So I don't know, like, since they didn't officially call him offside, if that like gets logged as a shot.
I'm also not sure they counted a save on that one that hit the post because we got a goal kick after it, even though Stewart clearly touched it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's officials missed a lot last night. Putting it out.
Let's talk about the official from last night. So those of you with long memories may remember our friend Mendoza from I guess Brendan Heinzike said something about his mom and he gave him 2 yellow cards in about 20 seconds. He was also the ref for the New York Red Bulls game where they kept trying to get Emil Forsberg a extra time free kick goal on some dubious refereeing, let's call it that. So do we want to talk about the little shit or the big shit? Because I think we talk a lot about refereeing here, where we say the ref's main job is, okay, you got to keep everybody safe. Yes, that's ref job number one, but you have to have control of the game, and we don't care if you're good as much as you're consistent. Kind of like baseball umpiring. And this dude from the opening seconds had no fucking clue what the fuck was going on. So, Brad, thoughts?
Well, the first 15, 20 minutes felt like if we breathe on one of their players, it's foul. But if they, decided to whack one of our legs out with a machete, it was fine. There were, Scott, you mentioned the miss, what should have been a corner for New England. Even missed, throw-ins, giving it to the wrong team. It was bad. Seth, you didn't see the game last night, I know. But there's a legitimate argument of who had the worst ref this week.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and Brad, you mentioned this, and I understand sometimes it's kind of hard to tell on a corner or something. You give the safe answer. You don't want to give away a bad corner, so you give it as a goal kick. They missed really, really obvious shit that you could see from miles away, and on simple throw-ins and things like that. So I don't know what was going on or what they were watching. And the linesman looked really not confident to overrule him too, which is something that needs to happen. It was just a whole fucking mess. And you mentioned the foul disparities. It really seems like this guy has a grudge against us, and I don't know why. I'm assuming it has something to do with hindsight, but
also he's been one that we've gotten amazing results with this guy on the whole.
Yeah, but I don't know. So I didn't get a look at a good look at the penalty shout. I saw basically Owen kind of went over and it looked kind of 50-50 to me, but Scott, you had a better view. Thoughts?
I had a great view of it actually, because I was right there on the aisle between 103 and 104 where I always am, and I could tell that the ref was just no, you were trying to get that penalty, and at the same time Owen has the ball in the box, a defender is behind him, the defender barrels through him. That's a penalty. If you're not going to call that a penalty, then there are no penalties, essentially. Because you're basically saying that you're basically deciding that attackers are only allowed to move forward in the box as a choice. If a player stops because that is advantageous to what they're going to do, he has to be allowed to do that. And if a defender barrels through him when he does that, that's a foul. It's a foul everywhere on the pitch normally. This ref, who knows, a random number generator, was probably better at figuring out fouls than he was. But you can't sit there and have an attacker with the ball in the box get barreled over through his back and it not be a foul and it not be a penalty. It's the most blatant as they thing possible. He was so bad that people started chanting "Ref, you suck" 12 minutes in. The crowd immediately turned on him because his fouls were so bad and so obviously bad, and he just missed stuff, like you said, basic stuff the entire time.
Yeah, the other thing that I always hate about those, and we kind of talked about it in the US Open Cup game, I don't like refs bailing out defenders being idiots. If you're a defender and you do dumb shit like that, I'm not saying it always has to be a penalty, but you shouldn't get the benefit of the doubt, well, we don't want to, I know Brad hates this, but well, it doesn't rise to the level of a penalty. I'm sorry, if you're being a dumb motherfucker, you don't get that benefit of the doubt for me.
So my thought when I first saw the play last night was I thought it was a bit of a flop on Owen. Scott, you had a better angle than I did, so I'll defer here. I need to go back and watch it because even on the replay they showed in the stadium, which they typically only show replays in the stadium when they want to rile up the crowd, by the way. Even in the replay of the stadium, I couldn't really tell completely, if it was a penalty or not. But
yeah,
I don't think it matters if it's a flop or not.
No, I don't.
Be honest. That's kind of that's clearly what the referee did, because I looked at him right after the play happened and he did the hand sign of no,
yeah,
kind of a thing. But he's wrong.
But for me, the problem isn't the fact that he didn't call the Owen penalty. The problem actually lies with our own team, because I felt there were multiple instances last night where we went into the box just looking for a penalty instead of looking to try to score.
That always annoys the piss out of me. Got Newcastle to the Champions League, though.
It really felt like that's what we were doing. And I think we have one guy that I'm okay with doing that, and it's Bucati, because he has enough. He can do enough on the ball to where he will draw penalties, or make something stupid happen. Right? Nobody else on this team do I really feel confident of. Do I want you really just dribbling and trying to do something in the box that outside of trying to score? Progress the ball, do what we need to do. Let's try to put something on net, because too many times last night we got into good positions and did absolutely nothing.
If you watch the Apple TV highlights, something that really stands out is how many times we took shots from bad angles.
Yep.
When there were multiple players who were kind of like in the box. I understand the if you pass it to Ozuni, he's just going to miss, blah, 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 kind of a thing. I understand that. And I think you still have to try to make the right play, and you have to force the other team to make defensive plays when they're running back at their own goal. And I think had they hit a couple of just hard crosses across the face of goal, I think that would have caused more problems than what they did, which was ultimately take a shot from a bad angle that really wasn't ever going to score.
Fizz one across, you might even get a damn own goal, right? Players backtracking, doing something stupid. You never know. But there were 3 or 4 instances last night where we just kept dribbling the ball near the end line instead of trying to, like you said, Scott, put one right across face of goal and see what happens. Put it into the zone of uncertainty. Make them play defense. Make it harder on the opposing team.
Or even if you're having a mental calculation of Ozuni's going to miss, there are other players in the box you can still kick it to. There were a couple of times where Danny had very strong reactions to not getting a cross in because he was open and he was basically standing between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box. He gets the ball there, that's a really good chance. And there were 3 or 4 of those just in the Apple highlights that are just really blatantly obvious.
I'm going to push back on this a little bit. So I think after that early miss, and just go back to the referee, there wasn't a very, very early before that Gallagher chance, even Ozuni's running in on goal and they had to do basically throw him in an arm bar and haul him down, no call. So maybe Ozuni's got that in his head and he's pissed off. He should be able to get over it, but whatever. After that Ozuni miss and kind of the long spate of Ozuni misses, I thought it was very admirable for Bucari to go, hey, I'm normally the creator. Fuck it, this is my game. Vasquez isn't here. We don't have a goal scoring leader anymore. I'm going to take this game by the scruff of the neck and I'm going to fucking win it. And, he didn't do that, but him taking shots gets him more space to make passes in the future. And, the one where he went near post, that almost went in. On a different day, a slightly different, mildly delayed reaction, he catches the keeper out like that. If you can't rely on your, biggest ever signing to put the ball in the net and you're the creator and, you got 3 DPs, one's not doing shit, one's injured. I totally respect him standing up and saying, fine, this is my fucking team now, I'm doing this.
So to be clear, I had no problem with a couple of the shots that Bucati took. I didn't have a problem with the one that he hit off the post. It was great movement. Just hit it off the post. Okay, cool. You whacked the shit out of it. Didn't have a problem with the shot he took late in the game where Uzuni's kind of peels off to the right and looks like he's asking for the ball, but Bucari's got 2 defenders on him. Bucari took another rocket shot. Just kind of hit it right at the keeper, but it was hit well. Okay, I don't particularly have issues with that. But it wasn't just Bucari that I'm pointing out here last night. There were others on the team that had opportunities to just send them across, and we refused to do it. I thought Bucari was by far and away the best player on the pitch last night.
Yeah, I just think I'm bringing it back to this Scott thing where it breaks down the whole team, where your top-level DP striker isn't scoring. And, it messes with people's brains. I know, we like to think these are professional athletes and they're always going to make the correct decision, but that, playground, well, I'm not passing to Timmy because Timmy always misses shit, that doesn't leave your brain. That's still there.
I agree. And something else I noticed about Ozuni, if you kind of watch the runs he makes, he doesn't make decoy runs. He doesn't make runs to adjust space for the defenders to kind of move. I don't think he does. To move defenders around. I'm sorry, Devin gave me a look. I responded and I realized nobody could watch that because this is an audio medium. I think he makes a lot of runs for him to score, and I don't think he does a lot to like manipulate the defense otherwise. And Nico kind of talked about this in the press conference last night of like Vasquez does make those runs, and he does kind of like do that a little bit more, and that's kind of the adjustment for Ozuni is that ultimately like he's just out to score for himself and to create chances. He does not. I don't think it enters into his mind about like drawing defenders away so that somebody else can do it. It's like, no, I'm making this run so I can score.
He's a wildly selfish player who has not earned the right to be selfish on this team.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, all year.
If we go back, I think he's made some good decoy runs in the past, but I will agree with you. Last night, those were not happening.
The one thing I say that I do give him credit for is even late in the game, he had energy chasing down balls, playing defense. Like he comes with energy every night. That I don't question about him. But his decision making and his finishing is terrible.
Are we going to declare him Rigoni yet? I'm not, but I feel like people want to.
Not yet. He's got 10, 11, 12 games, whatever we have left, of being the man now.
Yep.
Up front to show me something.
So
with Vasquez out.
Let's get into that. Is there any other kind of like bigger game notes you guys want to hit on? I think the big ones are Rubio was fucking fantastic and unlocked a lot of things in our game that I think like if we sign a true 10, we'll see a lot more readily. And Bukari went up a level for me.
We hit on it early, but Nico's sub patterns made no damn sense.
Oh, yeah.
It gets a question of where does Robert Taylor actually fit into this team, because he didn't seem to fit into the roster last night, but he did an okay job on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw this, but he spent a fair chunk of the second half playing in like central midfield.
I noticed that too. A lot of central midfield, especially when Rubio came off.
Yeah,
especially when Rubio came off.
Yeah, after the subs happened, especially when Gallagher went to the right, he was cutting inside to give Coleman like outside more. And I think the other thing to talk about, I know that we've mentioned this a lot about Gallagher, but like his crossing last night was so bad.
Yep.
Just airmailed every single one, just completely off. Like it was atrocious.
Yeah, Gallagher wasn't great last night. He was better up front than he was at left back, or at least crossing at the back position. I still have. We talked about it several times and kind of hit it on already today, but I don't know what CJ Fodre has to do to get minutes. Why is he on the roster if you're never going to play him? Like, if you're only going to play the same 18 or 17, whatever, 16 guys every night with your 5 subs, what the hell's the point in filling out the rest of the roster? Why is... And here's the thing. I'm not Guilherme Bigger's biggest fan. We know this. He played fine, with the exception of the early part of the match on an Open Cup. And he played all 120 minutes, right? So if he needed a night off last night, which he didn't start, fine. Why are we wasting the final sub of the game in a tie game at home on a left-back replacement when Kalmanich was doing just fine? He didn't look tired. Instead of throwing someone up top to change the match.
Kalmanich is your best fucking weapon on set pieces, too.
Yes. And also, it was clear as day towards the last, 10, 15 minutes that New England was going to make us go over the top and try to score. What does CJ Fodre have right now that no one else in the front line has?
He's seen over the top.
He's height. He's tall. And yes, he can probably do a really, really awesome arm wrestling challenge. But
well, I think you touched on something really important, which is also that like Biru's best attacking contributions come from set pieces. And at that point, you're taking away your best set piece taker. Yeah. And so I don't know. It's just one of those like basic logic flaws that we talk about a lot.
Like I will give him a little bit of like leeway on the San Jose subs, because, you don't expect Vasquez to go down with a serious injury.
Yeah.
That Biru sub last night drove me up the fucking wall, because I'm normally like, well, these were bad subs, but, okay, fine. Like it's a 6 out of 10 instead of an 8 out of 10. It's not ultimately a huge deal most of the time. This one was just like, are you trying to piss us off?
Every other sub last night was justifiable.
Yep.
Every other sub I was like, okay, cool. This makes sense. But I just kept sitting here thinking, when are you going to bring in CJ? Because Azuni was the one that made sense to come out to me. Azuni had played, 60-ish minutes in San Jose. Was going to play, and now he just played 90 last night, and he's probably going to start again on Wednesday on the road. Like, if you're going to give somebody a little bit of a break in the second half and maybe change some things up, bringing in the tall guy to maybe knock in one of those balls coming in on crosses, I don't know, seems like a decent strategy to me, who can also run for days.
Also, how about this? How about you take Danny off at that point? Like, if you're doing that, and you're just trying to like score a goal, like you can just take off a midfielder because you already have Savovich there. Like,
Yeah.
There's just a lot of options here that it felt like Nico was not trying to win the game, and that's really kind of insulting to the home fans.
Yeah, and we've seen way too much of that in the history of this franchise.
I'm not kidding when I tell y'all I don't have a reason to spend money on MLS play for the rest of the year at this point. Like, unless tickets are $20 or less, or somebody hands me a freebie, I don't have a need or want to go to Q2 to watch this shit.
There will absolutely be $20 tickets.
Well, then I might go.
I'm gonna allude to this in my moment of suffering of what's going on, but yeah.
Yeah, I had a great time yesterday. The tailgate pregame was amazing. Got to hang out with everybody. Hadn't seen people in a while. First match I'd been to since May for us because had other shit going on. We really haven't been playing at home. I have a ticket for LAFC because it got rained out. So I still got that one in my account. But otherwise, unless a cheap-ass ticket comes around, give me a reason to go to Q2. Because it's not to go watch Sufferball.
I don't know. I think we're going to talk a little bit about the transfer window here in a minute, but that's where you got to make moves. Also, happy birthday to my ticket rep, Tyler. Yay, Tyler. Yay, ticket rep, Tyler. Yeah.
Thank you for the reminder to email Tyler happy birthday.
Yeah, I just thought about that. As Brad was talking about, give me a reason to show up.
I mean,
Tyler, if you're listening, that means
not come out
Alexis
this
Ball.
week. But will be really interesting to see is that the season ticket renewal deadline is tomorrow at 5 p.m. And I will be very curious if we hear any tricklings of numbers by the end of the week of what the percentage renewal is.
Not great, Bob.
Well, Scott, you mentioned something on tickets. I'm curious to hear what you had to say about that now. Or just say it was your moment of suffering for pricing.
Yeah, it's going to be my moment of suffering, but there's something I noticed last night.
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do the format, and then we'll kind of talk about Fallout stuff. Seth, do you want to go first? And you can do like both games, just one game, whatever you want to do.
I mean, even though his stock is already insanely high, you have to give it to Brad Stuver for both of these games. I mean, stepping up to the next level with the PK saves, 17 saves in match, like that was just, I mean, he put the team on his back both times.
Yeah, never a bad pick, especially when you add the penalty shootout. I think that's a good pick.
And also,
Brad,
I'll say at the end of the match, especially at San Jose, like most of the team came over to the fans, but like Stuver stayed around for another minute or two, was talking to people, was always doing the extra mile on and off the pitch, and it's greatly appreciated and always seen.
I did notice too, Stuver and Ilya and a bunch of folks talked to Mendoza at halftime, and he seemed to be less terrible in the second half. So I don't know. Maybe we got a little extra there too. But Brad, you want to give us your stock rising?
I think Diego Rubio, the penalty he took to start us off during the shootout. You mentioned like amazing penalty the way he took it after we all initially when it looked like he thought it was going to go over, and turns out he just roofed one. Scott and Devin, we've talked a decent amount about last night's game and how he really sprung some attacks and added some creativity in that forward midfield that we have been lacking. So I'd like to see Diego continue to get more minutes now with Vasquez out. Like, we need some kind of creativity or something to help build, because we can't just play like we have been playing this year.
Creativity sounds nice. We don't normally like that here at Austin, but we can give it a shot, I guess. Scott, how do you want to go on your stock rising?
I'm going to go with Bukuri, who I think has really taken hold of kind of what we talked about of just being the best player on the team and really taking that responsibility and being the, attacking focal point. Now that Nico has finally realized to only play him on the right, just kind of It is nice to see a winger who really puts fear into the defenders when he's 1v1 against them. They are always just taking steps back because they are just scared.
Oh, I loved it. I don't have enough superlatives or fun little cliches about how terribly he was terrorizing those folks last night. You guys took all the good ones, so I think I'm going to take the choice of Brandon Vasquez. Won a penalty, scored a goal, had to go off the field. Vasquez probably scores at least one of those goals last night. You would think so. At least not, or if not, our counterfactual works this way. So it was nice to see him before the game, although I thought him doing the weird little porch walkout thing was odd. It was sort of like the Pope or the Queen coming out to wave at everyone and then going back in the little glass housing.
I know he watched the game from up there last night because there's a reaction shot in the highlights from him on the Azuni miss. So
yeah, I don't remember who it was, so my apologies, but somebody had a great comment about that. Like Brandon Vasquez now knows what it's like to be an Austin FC fan. Shout out. I should have remembered who that was because I meant to bring it up, but apologies. All right, Seth, you want to give us your stock falling
So my
few
stock
choices, I
falling
think?
is a pretty esoteric one here. I'm going to put it in our chat here so we can go through this. So if you haven't been to a game in San Jose has a goal song that is a home written goal song. Are any of you guys familiar with this? I've been to a match at PayPal Park before, but I guess they didn't score in that match. So I had never heard this before. It's called We're Going to Be Saturday's Heroes. And obviously they play it there. There are some amazing verses in this, but it's just like, it's Tuesday night. You're not going to be Saturday's heroes. And when they scored that first goal, I'm like, you know what? We're going to win this because this song is so stupid and so bad. I encourage you to listen to it after the pod. It is, there are some very funny lines, but I think, Brad, you will appreciate the second lines. We are the ones that you love, the ones you love to hate, is in the San Jose goal song.
Oh, I don't love to hate you. I just freaking hate you.
Is this to the tune of David Bowie's Heroes?
No, it's it's not.
It's just bad. Okay.
It's just like bad, like 2000s, like pop rock.
Okay, yeah, I will put this in the show notes.
I think my favorite line here is, when the ground comes alive, the earthquake is going to start.
Sure. Wouldn't the earthquake have already started if the ground is alive?
You say you believe, but you ain't got no heart. It's funny because it rhymes, you guys.
See, this one's my favorite. Come on, you aches until fade out.
I like no, this ain't New York, this ain't LA.
Also,
yeah, those stadiums don't have an airport next to them.
Yeah. Also, very classic roots Americana flyover country, San Jose, California.
But we also get to a song that doesn't talk about Houston, the place where their original team went.
I don't think we have time to do this entire song, Seth. We might do an entire episode on it. I'll put it in the show notes, and I'm actually going to piggyback on yours. My stock falling, I don't want to pick a player, is the New England Revolution fans for like 10 minutes after the game just doing "We Love You."
Oh, we met them before the game, and they were so nice, too.
Yeah, no. Nope. Well, they're dead to me now. So, Brad, you want to give us your stock falling?
San Jose's grounds crew. I would like to ask you guys to find new jobs, please.
Politely. And then if that doesn't happen, not politely. We'll make it happen. Scott, how about you?
My stock falling is Nico Estevez.
Yeah.
I think that, as we've spent a lot of time talking today, I just don't think he's a good soccer coach. And I think his teams don't score goals, and that's a problem when the point of the game is to score goals. And I think that we're possibly stuck with him again next year, but I have no idea how the front office sells this team as a team that is trying to win things when Nico Estevez is your coach.
I think we should all go back and give that episode when Nico Estevez was first announced a re-listen, because I think a lot of those things have come true.
I did read listen recently, and they did.
Oh,
I'd also like to point out that at one point in LV Slack, the Wolf Out channel got changed to the Estevez Out channel, as was tradition. And I feel like changing that away from that, changing it to the Talkery, was a mistake.
oh, it was.
Also, shout out whoever took away my permissions to name channels and rename channels in Slack. That was probably the right move, but I don't appreciate that you did it.
We'll get it figured out. Yeah, it was the right move, but the funniest answer is for you to still have that power, and that's our guiding light, our one principle. Moment of suffering. I want to do Scott's last because it sounded like he had quite a bit to talk about. Brad, do you want to go first?
So this goes last night. During halftime, I got to preface this by earlier in the week, a certain website might have run hey, bet $5 on a baseball game, and if you miss, you get a free $5 play back, whatever. I stupidly played the Colorado Rockies on a fun whatever. Of course, they lost. So I had a free 5, and there was a 10-1 parlay out there on soccer last night, and I was like, we'll try this. So I checked the scores at halftime. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I had this going. And we get to the point where, and let me find the actual thing so I can tell you what the play was. It was Seattle to win over KC. They have a 2-goal lead at the half. Great, we're in great shape. Minnesota to win over San Jose. They have a 2-goal lead at the half. Sweet. San Diego to win or tie against Chicago. San Diego's up 2 goals at the half. All right, we're in great shape. The fourth piece is Austin to win. So at halftime, I realized I now need a damn goal from Austin FC to hit a 10-1 parlay. And, well, we know how that ended.
Not well. Is it because Sam Surridge has more goals than Austin FC as a fucking team? Seth, you're up.
Oh God. So I'm going to go with my biggest moment of suffering, which I alluded to earlier, which was the stoppage time of the second half of the San Jose game, where it just felt like we were playing just like pinball of like, oh my God, they're going to keep on Steve, going to get another chance. They're going to get another chance. They're going to get another chance. Like we're going to come back, especially after that Izuni miss, to be like, we're going to blow this and we're going to lose in the Open Cup on like a 99th minute goal on +7. And it's just like, if that had happened, I don't know. It would have been absolutely miserable. I'm so glad it didn't happen, but it felt like we were so damn close to blowing that at the end of stoppage time that we didn't have enough energy there. But thank God we have Brad Stuver.
Yeah, I definitely got the same feeling. I'm gonna go a 2 for here. I had like an actual in-game one, but going into the game, we always bring like a Yeti cup with like a cup of ice in it because it's hot as fuck, and we just buy a Smart Water and fill it up. We're still spending money at the stadium, and so like we walk through like 2 guys of security. They look at the cup, they're like ice cool, and then like somebody comes up to it and goes, "No ice today," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, fuck those guys, fuck like immigrations and customs enforcement." And then he like starts to try to like take the cup from us, and I was like, "Whoa, hold on here, fucking buddy." We've brought this into every single fucking game this year, and you're going to tell us now that it's actually hot out and the sun's out, we can't do this? Like, fuck you. Like, I don't know if I said those exact words, but like a supervisor dude came over and was like, no, it's cool. But I went from like, hell yeah, dude, to, oh, you're just being a dick in the span of about half a second. In game one is Uni's second miss last night, where it's like, okay, maybe you can finally get your redemption, get this winner, and he just, racks it off the bar. And, I feel like that just sort of like ended any real chances we had to win that game too. Like everybody just kind of went, this isn't going to fucking happen. So, Scott, you want to do your long one?
Sure. So the first part of it last night was going to be that there was an invasion in the south end of like fraternity sorority types who were harassing one of the capos to the point they got ejected. That's not going to be my moment of suffering. My moment of suffering is that after I left the match and I leave at the whistle because I'm driving south and kind of getting out of there, where my partner and I were walking over to my car, which we parked a little bit away, but not too far. And normally it's a pretty easy walk. It's, there's not that many people because we, leave pretty quickly and get out there. And last night I realized that a lot of the stadium left very early. because we were not only did the walk take longer, there were times where we actually stopped, like trying to walk to Burnett, of just too many people trying to get there. And I'm kind of sitting there and I look at my partner, and I'm kind of like, hey, is it me or is it a lot busier tonight? And she was like, no, this is weird. And we and parking in the same place every time, like the traffic to get out was much worse. And I realized that like everybody probably left with 5 minutes to go. And at some point that becomes a problem, because it does show that it's not even just about people trying to get home early. I don't think this team has a chance to do anything at this point. And as soon as the fans stop having belief that the team is able to score or get a win, and that kind of like permeates the fan base, like that's when your team's kind of done. And when I talked about earlier about, I don't know how this front office sells another season with Nico in charge, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Because what's going to happen is that people are, and I heard this while I was walking away, of like, oh look, another 0-0 draw, so exciting. And as soon as you kind of start having that as like a like overall like zeitgeist about the team, like it's going to get really tough to sell tickets. So toward the end of the season, those supporters tickets that dropped down to 20 because SeatGeek doesn't let them drop below 20 are going to be everywhere. Because I would bet that LAFC match that got rescheduled to October, those are going to drop like crazy.
I just looked; it's 35 right now, lowest price for LAFC for October.
Yeah, that and I think that's kind of, I don't think that's too abnormal in terms of like what the resales end up being, but those resales are going to.
But I'm not convinced of that, because it's also, let's see what the weather's like. Let's see if we are playing for a playoff spot. If we are playing for a playoff spot and that's our last home match of the season, those will actually go back up.
Honest question: what percentage of the stadium last night do you think knew where we were in the Western Conference standings?
Oh, probably 40%. But
I'm just not sure that enough of the fan base is fully aware of like the playoff race to be like,
no,
oh,
but
we're
like,
moving for a
it's one
playoff
thing to
spot.
be aware of a playoff race in July. It's another thing to be aware of a playoff race in October. Of like, hey, come out to the Austin FC match tonight. If they win, they make the playoffs. That's easy for people to understand, rather than like, well, we're somewhere between 8th and 9th, and like it's just July. Like even in baseball, it's like, okay, like as I was watching the Reds and Rockies finish up yesterday, it was. Did you see, Brad, how the Rockies lost yesterday? By the way,
Yeah, I saw. I just know that we have a rubber game today, and you're in danger of losing a series to the Colorado Rockies.
hey, you know what? The Reds have gone, and the Reds have not are the only team in baseball that has not been swept this season. And the Reds won yesterday, so the Reds will not be swept before the All-Star break. And if the Reds win today, the Reds will get win 50 on the season before the All-Star break, and it will be Terry Francona's 2000th win as a major league manager.
So you brought up the Rockies. It's like you're reading my mind here, because I was actually going to make a comparison. Is our fan base becoming kind of like the Rockies fan base, where it's just a nice night out and you go and they draw anyway, no matter what this fucking team does?
Yesterday seemed very like, Scott kind of mentioned fraternity, sorority, but like people who don't go to games often. And we have those, every year at different times, but it was very much like this is my first ever Austin FC game crowd. So maybe that contributed a little bit to it. I do think it was really weird with all the, people in the Hill Country, the tragedy out there, the game last week getting canceled or rescheduled. Open Cup was weird midweek. It was kind of a weird game, so I don't know if I'm going to read too much into that, but like, if you're a maybe playoff team who doesn't fucking score goals, why are people showing up for expensive tickets and $20 jellyfish?
I mean, I'm a hardcore ass fan doing a damn podcast on this team every week, and I'm telling you, I'm not buying a ticket for more than X amount of dollars the rest of the year, because it's not worth going to an MLS match watching this team. I will pay for an Open Cup ticket if we make the final. I will pay for my Open Cup ticket and my trip to go to the semis. But beyond, and I'm going to go to LAFC because I have a ticket already. Beyond that, like I just looked at the schedule. I'm not planning to go to either Copa Tejas match in August because I'm not going to be here. And then the Quakes match I'd like to go to because I don't like San Jose and I love yelling horrible things at them. But unless I can get a free ticket or a cheap one, I'm not going to go. Like it's not worth. Plus that Quakes match, by the way, is the opening day of college football season. You need to give me a really strong reason to leave my couch that day.
Yeah. Also, by the way, props to, I know we're into the non-soccer random sports portion. I am very happy to see that the two winners of the Pop-Tart Bowl will be joined by the surviving Pop-Tarts for their game in Dublin. Biggest college football news of the season.
I have very, very not good thoughts about that game.
No, it's going to be terrible, but Pop-Tarts will be there.
No. That game should not be played in Dublin. It's an actual rivalry. That game needs to be played on campus somewhere.
Yeah.
Like Farmageddon in Dublin doesn't make sense to me.
Well, we're trying to export American culture, so I don't know. Like, I understand when Notre Dame or like Navy or somebody plays over there, but yeah, Kansas State and Iowa State.
This is part of the Civilization 6 cultural victory, is playing football in other countries. It just is.
We're going to
I
make
have
you
no
watch it
problem
like we
saying-
made Germany watch the Panthers play the Giants.
So again, I have no problem playing a college football game over there. Like Florida State losing to Boston College in Dublin last year made me very happy. Or Georgia Tech or whoever beat them. It was Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Sorry, they beat Florida State. Fine, play that game over there. I don't care. It's not really a rivalry. They play every year, but it's not a rivalry. Like this is one where two fan bases don't like each other.
This is also one where two fan bases have no easy way to get to. At least from Atlanta, you have an easy way to get to Dublin, Ireland. The great flights out of Des Moines to Dublin. Maybe Aer Lingus is running a special, but I don't even know if there's customs and immigration at the Des Moines airport. Much less in Manhattan, Kansas, or heck, even in KC. Actually, KC probably has some flights to Mexico, but still.
Yeah, I have no idea.
No, KCI
It's a
definitely
fun
does.
idea, though.
But the Little Apple does not.
No.
But the college football thing goes back to my point of like that Earthquakes match, that San Jose match in August is opening day of college football season. So now for every Saturday home match that we have, starting with San Jose, you are competing for eyeballs and time with college football season and happening on Saturdays. And then that LAFC match is now on a Sunday. I have no idea what time the Cowboys or the Texans play, but there's
Cowboys are at noon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, for whatever reason, people still watch the Cowboys, but they do. I'll probably end up missing my team's play, but that's fine. I can miss a game for a week, but you just have to give people reasons to go. And you're going to have to compete with eyeballs, and you're going to have to compete with people's share of wallet at that point. Because when you know how things are when downtown and when football starts up downtown and the season gets, why do I want to go watch boring Nico soccer? And that's an existential question that this club has to figure out.
No, why do you want to go watch it in stadium? Even if you're like, I'm an Austin FC fan, I love the team, you can go sit in a bar and watch 3 college football games and Austin FC.
I can watch it on my house. Like I can put the Austin FC game on the computer and put a quad box up and watch 4 college football games at a time and be totally happy.
Yeah.
Like it's fine.
It's all good.
That is some true sicko shit right there, and I love it.
It's all good, man.
Oh, buddy, on a Saturday for college football, I will normally have minimum 6 games at a time going. It's nothing.
I know. Once you get like laptops and like tablets in play, you're just like,
Yeah.
no, I got a bunch here.
No, I can't do the like Instagram, TikTok, flash thing. I got to do like 2 or 3 on like different screens and then rotate them on commercials.
My typical setup is quad box,
I can't do the quad box.
then 1 game on my phone and 1 game on a computer.
I can do like side by side. I can't do the full 4. I don't know. My brain just doesn't work like that. That's why I can't do whip around shows either. I have too much of an attention span.
So ADD didn't destroy you. Okay, congratulations.
Yet. We're working on it. As I continue to social media and learn it.
I actually think college football. God, they should come up with a college football like red zone. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
They have one on the radio already.
Yeah.
You'd have to do it. You'd almost have to do it by like conference. Like you just have too many. Like there should be too much going on.
No, but like there's rarely more than like 14 games going on at once, unless we're getting down to like.
But yeah, no, that's the thing. I don't think it's by conference, but it's by network. So like if ESPN just does a red zone for all the games on ESPN at that time, it's not because you got to remember you're not gonna have the CBS game. You're not gonna
I've
have
been there.
you don't have the CBS game. You don't have the NBC game, the Fox game, whatever.
No, but like the thing about football is that like at least a third of the time it's on commercial, so it's very rare that you actually need to be watching more than 3 or 4 games at once.
That's true.
Sorry, Seth, if 14 at once isn't the sickos number, what is it?
No, but like That includes like, oh, okay, Toledo is beating Alabama A&M 49-0. I don't need to watch that. It's very rare that you would actually have a bunch of games that you would actually want to be watching as they're coming down the stretch at that point.
Also, that would be on Tuesday night action. So
Why you got to do that?
Not
Alabama A&M?
non-conferences on Saturdays and Thursdays, not on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. These are important.
What did one half of the Magic City Classic do to you, Seth? That's not okay.
All right. So while we're doing this, Seth, do we have a Rouge update?
We only had one Rouge yesterday in the Canadian Football League. We do have another game today. This is a rare 3-game week rather than a 4-game week because of there's only 9 teams in the CFL. But on Friday night we had a wildfire postponement because there were too many wildfires in Saskatchewan and the air quality was not strong enough. They kept doing 30-minute delays and they almost kicked off at 11:15 p.m. local time. But even then the air quality was not strong enough and they managed to eventually find enough rooms for the Calgary Stampeders so they did not have to fly back to Calgary to then go fly back to Regina in the morning to go play the game. And the the Rough Riders beat the Stampeders, and there is now every team in the CFL has lost and won a game this season.
Good update.
It was also like a remarkably normal 24-10 game with all normal scoring between Calgary and Regina. So the only reason that was allowed was because of the wait a minute, wildfire delay. So at least there has to be something weird happening in every CFL game.
Yeah, that's not what I tune into the CFL for. Just like I don't tune into MLS for 0-0 games.
No, but if you turn into MLS for 0-0 games, you're going to have a terrible ref. You're going to have other chaos, and that's okay too.
Yeah, true. We're recording this right as I think the Wimbledon men's final is about to kick off. I think we're all rooting for Carlos Alcaraz here, but
yeah, we don't root for dopers on this podcast.
I don't even know who's in the final. I know the women's final took 40 minutes yesterday.
Yeah, it was double bagel. First double bagel in a Grand Slam final in 37 years.
Yeah. Congratulations to podcast favorite Santi Cazorla, who has extended his contract with Real Oviedo, so he will get to play in La Liga at the tender age of 40 next year. After bringing his hometown club back up. And there's a very cute little video of him receiving the contract extension. It's based on The Shawshank Redemption, which is one of his favorite movies. So I will see if I can find a good link to that and post it in the show notes.
I have a lot of questions on how they got to that. Okay.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find the video. It'll explain it. But
is there a poster, and what's the poster?
I don't think there's a poster. It's about the post-escape portion where he's at the wall and then he's on the beach.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. I don't know if he's from a town called Zihuatanejo, Spain or something, but we'll see. We'll see what I can find for you. Any other big outside sports news we need to cover? Nothing. It is kind of a dead sports time. Women's Euro is still going on.
I think it's really funny that this is a soccer
victory over
podcast.
Germany.
Sorry, I think it's really funny that this nominally is a soccer podcast and not one of us gives a shit about Club World Cup.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that finals today.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a 2.
PSG is so much fun to watch. If you've not watched PSG, the PSG Ultras finally apparently care about this tournament, which is one of the more shocking things. And they took over Times Square on Friday, and it was pretty impressive.
So speaking of this final, did you notice on the ribbon boards that surround the playing surface last night at the game, they were advertising tickets for the final tomorrow? I'm like, are there actually any available?
Yeah.
Surely there's not.
It was also weird because it was very it was a very stark color contrast because the stadium is so green, and so I always find the video board when there's even a Siete ad, I think, that's all red and it just stands out. It's just so blatant.
But I'm like, it's
so Brad, you asked about this. There are about 10,000 seats available on SeatGeek right now. You can get in for $250 for this afternoon.
That's not terrible.
Where are they?
I wouldn't pay it, but it's not terrible.
It's at MetLife, but it's only supposed to be 81 and partly cloudy. That's what I was just pulling out. Weather's actually not supposed to be terrible. I mean, Infantino would love this. Apparently, Infantino in a presser yesterday said that every match at the 2026 World Cup should be played inside a dome. The problem is there's only 5 domes that are part of the 16 stadiums that are hosting.
Today, I feel a closed roof stadium.
Yeah. We can talk about the actual World Cup scheduling and everything. I know you have to play games all throughout the day because that's the way the scheduling works. But if you're going to do that and you're worried about the weather, play the day games in the domes, guys. This isn't that hard to schedule. And play the night games outside.
Or play day games in, I don't know, Seattle or Seattle
or Canada.
But yeah, if they schedule a 3:00 match at Arrowhead, I am just going to lose my mind.
As somebody who has definitely been to way, way, way more Kansas City like summer games for various things, like that place gets fucking intense, especially for folks who don't get like Midwestern humidity and stuff. Whew.
Omaha, Nebraska for the College World Series was disgustingly hot and humid the year I went. It was like 99 degrees, humid as hell. It's not fun.
Yeah, it's not quite your Alabama swamp humidity, but it's different and it's intense.
It's gross.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah, we'll the over-under on how many thunderstorm delays we get during the World Cup.
Somebody online was talking to me yesterday, too. They were debating about, you could always play some of the World Cup games and like they should have picked Phoenix. And I'm like, dude, it's like 115 there. I know they have a dome, but everything else around the stadium is going to kill most of the world.
Yeah, I think
the one city that should have gotten it that didn't get it is Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Did they bid?
They did bid. They were one of the last cities eliminated. Hotel rooms are a little bit of an issue there.
But they have like practice infrastructure and shit up there too. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it was, but FIFA gonna FIFA.
Yeah, fair enough.
Also, it's a Delta hub.
No, but like there's just like most of like you'd have to have like a lot of people staying out like by Mall of America. There's just not that many hotels in downtown Minneapolis.
Sure, but even then, that's fine. There's a public transportation that goes straight from the mall to the game.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't choose it. Oh, wait a minute, FIFA. I'm sure just Minnesota. They were too nice to bribe.
Yeah.
They should have just made a hot dish. It would have been fine.
That's what the bribe was.
Yeah.
Just put some tater tots on the top.
No, if that was the bribe, it wouldn't work. Let's be honest here.
Headquarters, and they were like, "What the fuck is this?"
Like there are a few things that are perfect for hot dishes.
Hot dish and a 7-layer dip. Oh, here you go, FIFA. Don't you know?
Oh, just gonna slide this hot dish in right here. Here you go.
You
be careful. That's hot. That's hot there.
They carry in a briefcase and it's perfectly flat, and it's perfectly flat, and they hold it perfectly flat the whole time, and they open it up in front of FIFA, and they're expecting it to be cash as just hot dish.
You know, FIFA have now robbed us of like the possibility of scoring goals in that stadium and having the Viking horn go off. Like that's what we should do. All the NFL stadiums that are hosting, whatever this stupid thing they do, should be incorporated to goal scoring. So Atlanta, whenever a goal scores, you need the horn that they always blow there. With the Minnesota or whatever it could have been.
No, but Brad, do we really want 50,000 Germans doing the tomahawk chop?
Oh my god, I would consider that for Kansas City.
No. The only thing more terrifying than angry Germans is happy Germans. I feel like we're gonna not top this, so I'm gonna go ahead and say it's time to call it. Unless you guys have something else you wanna throw in here. I'm being Minnesota nice about it.
No, only thing I've got is don't forget next Saturday if you're still listening, 3 to 5 at Hop Squad. Come out, hang out. Brad Stuber's going to be there, your local MLS All-Star, and we are raising money for laundry project. You know, we got plenty of supplies, but we do need funds to be able to fund the project. There is a project on the 12th, or the very next day. So that's the 12th. So next Sunday, we actually do have a laundry project. It's a small one. We have volunteers already covered, all that kind of stuff. But monetarily is where we really need help this year. We have plenty of supplies to get through the year because you guys blew us out of the water last year. So come out, have a beer, hang out with Stuber, talk All-Star Game, talk US Open Cup.
See what sort of zany thing I can manage to win in a raffle this year.
maybe buy. I don't think we're doing a raffle for this one. This is just a hangout. The raffle's for the Chiari function thing.
Okay.
That's later on. This is literally just a hangout. Nothing else is happening. Maybe buy the guy a beer for getting us through to Open Cup and making saves. So,
don't know. Can I afford a $20 jellyfish for Brad Stuver? Oh no, it's a Hop Squad. So
it's a Hop Squad. So, which apparently Hop Squad, for those who are interested, now has THC laced drinks as well.
Very cool. I did tease we're doing an interview later this week. I don't know when we're going to actually publish it, but we found somebody who actually owns a football club and manages a football club that's willing to talk to us, and I have no idea how that happened, but we're gonna get that recorded. We may time it around game discussions and things, so it may not come out immediately, but that's gonna happen. Anything else we need to cover? Cool. On behalf of Seth, Scott, and Brad, thanks for suffering with us. Bye.
Promise here for Austin Jarrett Stroud. It's Diego Fagundes. He has written his name into Austin folklore.
They just won't go away.
Oh, he hits the upright again. That's impossible.
The Bears' season's going to end on a double doink.
Altidore squares it. Dempsey's missed it. Donovan has it. From hope, there is glory.